Tonight's forecast is sponsored by Ashbrook Audiology.
And a happy Tuesday to you, everybody. I hope you're doing well and managing to enjoy the nice spring-like conditions. Today is meteorological spring, basically meaning that we have now, in meteorological standpoint, we're now looking forward through March, April, and May 31st or 30th. I think it's got 31 days in May. But pretty much what we do is that we count the average meteorological average highs, and we start on the first month of the whichever season's begun. So, of course, in spring, meteorological spring began today, the 1st of March. The unofficial start to spring is March 20th. So we're about 19 days away from the official beginning to saying hello to spring, and it's been feeling like it for the last 2 days or so, and it does look like that warm weather will continue through the rest of this week. And of course, one of the last coolest nights, I guess, is going to be here with us this evening, as it does appear that our overnight lows are going to be getting warmer each and every evening. So it does appear that winter is beginning to slowly say goodbye to us, but of course we can occasionally get a few cold spells here and again between now and the end of March. And sometimes, as you know, in April, we begin to see some of these cooler nights that we typically see. And then also does begin the frost, or in the frost date, sometime in April is our average for that. So we'll talk more about that once we get towards later in the month of April. But in the meantime, I want to take you back to January. This is some data that our good friends in the NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, we talk about those people a lot because they're always putting together collective data analysis. They do more data analysis than I typically do on a daily basis. So again, January, as you remember, you may think, wow, I thought it was pretty cold. And well, you were right for this area, but overall, globally speaking, the temperatures were about a degree and almost 1.6 degrees above the average 20th century high. On top of that, much of our temperatures for the entire month of January were well above average. This is the 450th month that we have seen temperatures just well above where they should be pretty much over the last century or so. And then also on top of that, Arctic sea ice. We hear about this a lot. As you know, that melting is continuing to take place, parts of Antarctica and the Arctic Ocean in the continent of Antarctica is also seeing lower record ice melt. So we are unfortunately seeing the warmth of the impacts through much of across the country and even the world even. So just keep that in mind. Of course, you may think, wow, it's been pretty warm in January, February. Well, we'll have to take a look at, we'll see what the data says of that. And pretty much each and every day of February, we were also majority well above average, with a couple of, as you remember, every weekend we just kind of got cooler and cooler. And then again, it does appear that we'll see how the data comes out later here in the next few days or so. Moving on to the rest of tonight, locally back home here in Southside, no record extreme temperatures are expected, but it's really warm right now as you're making your dinner plans. And go ahead, and you have my permission to go ahead and go outdoors for the patio. Do that as well, or maybe go to an area park and take in some walking, maybe get the dog out and take them for a walk or two in the neighborhood or a local area park. Still warm at 50 degrees at 8 p.m. Of course, you know, our sunsets are getting earlier and earlier, getting later and later every day as we do continue to make our way through the month of March, which, by the way, we do want to remind you that not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, we will be beginning to turn our clocks ahead, where we get that longer hours of daylight and also those later sunsets. So that's going to be a beauty to see those as well. Tomorrow is looking phenomenal, a great day to get out there and enjoy. Not record breaking, but it's going to feel real nice out there, high of 71. The only concern we're watching now is the wind threat, because due to dry air in place, we have now is that fire risk this week. As you know, thankfully, we haven't seen a lot of fires reported in our area, and hopefully it stays that way. We do want to remind you, again, the burn ban, after 4 p.m., you are allowed to burn. However, though, there may be some exceptions if this stretch of dry air that would, if it was to continue, if you remember about a year ago about this time, we were gone almost about 3 weeks without any liquid rainfall in the region because, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago, about last year around this time, we saw about a nice stretch of dry weather in place that prompted some drought concerns and, of course, a fire danger with that. Of course, you get windy and then you get the dry air in place. And then you get a lack of rainfall, as you can kind of hint and point there that that is not the good combination for a typical nice day for burning. So just keep that in mind as we do have another month to go of that. Meanwhile, area temperatures, similar story everywhere you go. Martinsville again 71 there, and Franklin County, it's at Ferrum, upper 60s, low to mid 70s, lower 60s as you make your way towards Meadows-Adan, and right there coming in at 69 outside of the Stewart and Patrick Springs area. So once again, beautiful area to and take out some sights. As you know, the Blue Ridge Parkway runs right through here outside of Route 8, going up towards the Floyd Mountain, up towards the not interstate, but Highway 40 or Route 40 is the word I'm trying to get to. As you know, of course, you've got the Smith River down towards Ridgeway, beautiful area to take in and absorb a walk right there along the Smith River Sports Complex. So maybe take advantage and take a walk and send me your photos of your nature. We want to see your snow. I mean, not your snow photos. We want to see your spring photos now. And then maybe you have some flowers blooming in your garden or maybe your flower bed, even along the side of your house. Of course, the daffodils and the crocuses also beginning to have that opening of that, and maybe the birds even. You've probably seen more than out there recently, getting the feel that spring is definitely in for sure. So are we done with winter? I can't guarantee you say no, but it does look like that there's a warming trend as we head towards this upcoming week. And next week may be talking about a lot of wet weather. I'll talk more about that coming up on Thursday, and then next week's edition. We'll time all that out for you, let you know how much wet we could see in our region. Do stick around with us if you don't mind. Go ahead and don't change the channel just yet. We have a lot more great local programming coming up on the newscast. Do stick around.
Your BTW21 weather forecast is sponsored by Zentmeyer Chiropractic.